Hello there. Welcome to Underlords Universe. This is a YouTube channel that we do just to kind of reach out to people who are of like mind and have similar interests as we do. And we're part of a creative project that's called Underlords of the Overworld. And one of the things that kind of got us interested in being creative as kids, and we still do stuff years and years later. We write and record music. We have a bass player who writes fiction stories. We kind of create our own kind of world of music and story. And a lot of that stuff was inspired by things like sci-fi movies and Marvel comics, like stuff back here. And of course, bands like Kiss and musicians like Ace Frehley. So today we're going to just do a little discussion, a little reaction really to the loss of Ace Frehley, and who just passed away. What was the date?
October 16th,
October 16th, and this is today, October
26th,
26th.
right?
Yeah, I think that's right. So, if you are kind of falling across our channel for the first time and you like what you see, feel free to like and subscribe. For your own thoughts. If you're an Ace Frehley fan, a Kiss fan, we're just going to kind of do this off the cuff. We're going to, nothing, I don't have anything scripted. I don't even have any thoughts out. I know, Brent, you jotted down a few
Yeah.
notes or questions, so I'll just kind of react to what he says. But the first thing I just want to throw out to you is your initial reaction. When did you find out? What were your thoughts when it first happened?
Well, the first thing I saw was on Facebook, I believe, and I wasn't sure if it was true or whether it was clickbait or what it was. And it wasn't long after I saw that first posting that there were subsequent postings which said, yeah, it's real. And it wasn't long after that he was gone. So it all happened really, really quick, and it was really hard to process.
Hmm.
And that it happened as a result of an accident at home or in the studio. Obviously, there's no prep. You can't prepare for that. And it just seemed to happen really, really fast. It's like, oh, Ace fell and he's gone.
Yeah.
And
And he was, I think, at his home
home
studio.
studio. Okay.
And I learned, I obviously, like you, had heard that he'd fallen, and at first it was like, okay, they're going to cancel a few dates, but he's fine, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
whatever. And then one of my colleagues at work actually said, it was that day, it was maybe around 3:30 in the afternoon Central Time, and he said something to about, hey, I heard, Ace is on, life support and may not make it or something like that. And I was like, what? Really?
Hmm.
But these days, you kind of take something with a grain of salt, until you see it from a legitimate source or what have you. And by the time I got home, 30 minutes later, yeah, it was kind of all over the place. And then I don't remember what time they actually announced that he had passed away, but obviously not long after that.
Right.
And it was kind of surreal
Surreal,
because
yeah.
it's like, I mean, it's like you never really get used to, I mean, God, I mean, everybody deals with, loss in their lives and family members and tragedy. Um, but it's just something kind of weird about, when people, whether it's Ronnie James Dio or Eddie Van Halen or, Chris Squire,
Yeah.
and then it's like Ace Frehley, and it's like, really? I
Yeah.
mean, we just saw Ace Frehley a year ago
Yeah.
at the Valor Ballroom in Des Moines,
Yeah.
West Des Moines to be specific.
Yeah.
And was he, showing his age? Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. But it was a good show. Had a good time, and I think we did a little video on kind of new albums
Yeah.
of that year,
Yeah.
and which 10,000
10,000 volts.
volts
Yeah.
come out, and I was pretty open about the fact that I wasn't a huge fan of 10,000 volts. It's still I'm, I think it's a disappointing album to kind of end his career with, just and it's like I feel bad feeling that way, because I love Ace and I love I love a lot of his stuff, even a lot of his later stuff. I love. Um, I think there's some good stuff on that record, but I just kind of felt bad. It's like, oh man, gosh,
Oh,
the last thing I said about Ace Frehley, was that I didn't really like his newest album that much, and I actually felt kind of bad about that.
I thought about that too.
Did you really?
Yeah, but you were
Okay, so
harder.
I'm not, I was like, gee, I'm being kind of hard on myself, here, um, but that thought actually went through my mind, but what a character, I mean, everybody says it and they're right. There's only one Ace Frehley.
Yeah,
I mean, just absolutely unique in his personality, in his playing,
yeah,
uh, in an era where nothing against it, but in an era where players learn all these techniques where they can, learn to play like John Petrucci and all the sweep picking and all that just really fast stuff. To me personally, it takes a lot of the individuality.
yeah.
And, say what you want about Ace Frehley from a technical standpoint as a guitar player, his individuality is just up there with anybody,
Yeah.
with the best of the best from that angle, I think. Maybe not a technical angle.
So he would even admit to that.
Oh yeah, I mean he said that himself many times. So
Yeah.
what was that famous line of like, if I knew I was going to influence so many
Yeah.
guitar
He would
players,
have
I would have
practiced a lot
practiced
more.
more,
Yeah.
And it's like in a weird sort of way, I'm glad he didn't,
Right. Right.
because it's like what came out was just so genuine.
Yeah, I think that's a great word to describe his playing. And that was such a big part of the Kiss sound.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that his guitar playing was really the most important part of the Kiss sound from a musical standpoint.
Yeah, it's interesting, you a lot of, and I'm going to try to give credit to all four original guys here
Oh,
because,
sure.
a lot of people have said that Kiss would never have been Kiss without Ace Frehley, and it's absolutely true. Ace Frehley would not have been Ace Frehley without Gene, Paul, and Peter.
Right.
I mean, it's like it was just kind of an alignment that just happened. I mean, frankly, Gene, Paul, Peter, and Ace wouldn't have been Kiss without Bill Aucoin
Right.
and Sean Delaney.
Right.
So, it is a team effort, and it's a team unlike any other team in rock history, and that's just kind of what made it. That's what all these bands are. Whether it was Van Halen or
Well,
you
and
know,
then, but credit to Gene and Paul, when they heard Ace play, they knew. They
yeah,
said they knew when they heard him
yeah,
play that that was the guy.
yeah,
And thankfully, they made that
yeah,
decision.
yeah. So what else do you have in your notes here?
Well, you just talked about playing style and
Mhm.
influence, and you hit on some of those things. And so Ace is one of those players, and I'm sure you would agree with this. When you hear him riffing or you hear a solo, you know immediately that it's
Oh
him.
yeah.
Certain players like Dave Gilmour, Tony Iommi, Ace Frehley, they all have their signature. Jakey Lee. When you hear these guys play, you know it's them. And that's what's
Hmm.
really special about players like that. Eddie Van Halen.
Hmm.
When you hear an Ace solo, you know immediately that it's him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it's not so much, oh my gosh, how flashy is that? It's more of like, oh, that's the fingerprint. It's like that's the stamp.
Yeah.
It's that identifiable thing. It's and that's such a really, really hard thing to get, in music is how do you forge your individual identity? And um, Ace had that in spades because
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like,
No pun intended.
right.
No, he did. And you could hum. His solos were memorable. You can hear in your head note for note the Calling Dr. Love
Oh
solo,
yeah.
or
His phrasing
his
is,
phrasing is off the chart.
yeah, I mean it's very musical, right? Like you listen to an Ace Frehley guitar solo, and people often say it's a song within a song, and that's really
Yeah,
true because each line in his guitar solos um, are like a sentence in a paragraph.
that's a good way to describe it.
It's like not every sentence in a paragraph has to be the same length, and
No,
nor
they
should
don't. They
they
don't. They
be,
don't all carry
right?
equal weight, but when
Um,
put together,
but when put together, they do, right? They make yeah. So, yeah, it's funny because Ace gets knocked and has gotten knocked because of his, somewhat lack of musical ability, his lack of technical playing ability. He's not a trained musician. Heck, did he even know the difference between like a C sharp and an F? Who knows? I, I'm probably downplaying it a little bit, but that's kind of the criticism he got from
Yeah,
people. And it's like,
and still did up to his. I mean, even
yeah.
within recent.
Having said that, though, the musicality of his guitar solos is just
Yeah,
it's like, I mean, to me, Ace Frehley's guitar solos are some of the most memorable guitar solos of any guitar player
yeah,
that I've ever heard across the board. So you want to talk about musicality? How about that? There you go. I
yeah.
mean, and that's just me, but
No, and I would agree. And he also did say and would say often that he didn't really write the solo. It's like just hit the play button
mhm.
and record button, and we'll go ahead and we'll do something.
Yeah.
If that's really how those solos came to be, and I know he pieced together you piece pieces together and whatever to create a solo, but it's not like the guy sat down with his guitar and wrote out a solo. Some people do that. He didn't do that. He just played what
Yeah.
came. Like he said when he auditioned for Kiss, or auditioned with Gene and Paul, I
hmm
should say. He just played every lick that he knew. He
hmm
just when they played Deuce and they told him to solo, he just played everything that he could. And yeah, he would do variations of the same lick or the same phrase, but he did them so tastefully.
hmm
And like they always suited the song.
Yeah.
And like you said, they were songs within a song. And I think that's a very good way to describe his playing, his
It's just the
approach
way
to
I've heard other
playing.
people describe
And I
it,
would
and
agree
it's
with it.
yeah,
I would
yeah,
agree with it.
yeah.
And as to his influence and his style, he wasn't a shredder. He was a classic, like blues-based, influenced by people like Pete Townsend and Jimi Hendrix and
Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry and just, a classic heavy rock guitarist.
Yeah, yeah.
And, when guitar took a turn in the 80s and got into, more like um, shredding,
hmm
Ace was never a shredder, but he didn't have to be
Mm-mm.
to make the
No,
songs memorable.
no. As a matter of fact, if you want to just briefly mention like favorite solos, is that on your
It's
list at
on my
all?
list.
Okay.
It's on the list.
So you mentioned the 80s. One of my favorite Ace guitar solos is actually Into the Night on the
On the Frehley's Comet
Frehley's
album.
Comet album, 87.
87. Yeah.
And I mean, like that still gives me chills. And I know it's a Russ Ballard song,
Okay.
but I love the song. I think it's great.
It
Is
is a
it
great song.
obvious? Is it 80s kind of? Yeah, but and at the end solos. I
Hmm.
mean, I'm getting just chills.
The
Yeah, the
outro,
outro
the
solos.
lead that he's doing during the outro. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely love that.
Yeah.
It's like I am getting like goosebumps,
Yeah.
like just hearing it in my mind right now, and it's like that is one of my all-time favorite Ace moments.
You can
Um,
feel his playing. You can feel his playing when you hear him play. That's what I would say.
okay, speaking of that, the solo on Darklight.
Uh,
Okay, when he starts going on the solo on Darklight, that's the first time as a kid I remember listening to that and going, like you can hear the pick
yes, you
on the
can.
string,
Yeah.
and it's almost like you're there in the room with him while he's playing that thing, and
Yep.
that's a great guitar
It
solo.
is.
That's a highlight of the Elder.
Yeah.
Man, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
it is. It is.
So I'm gonna say, okay, again off the top of my head, I'm not saying that this is my definitive list or anything, but like Into the Night,
Mhm.
Darklight.
Mhm.
You want to get into like weird guitar solos. You know where I'm going with
Oh yeah,
this.
we'll
Go
get
ahead.
well like Strange Ways.
Strange Ways.
Well,
Wow.
okay, we can skip to this Charisma. That's a weird solo, but
That is,
I did a list of my top 10 favorite Ace Kiss solos, and Charisma and Strange Ways made the top 10. I
yeah.
actually did that one
Yeah,
time.
I love both those solos are great.
Hmm.
Strange Ways is
Hmm.
is so strange.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I mean that song is so like almost Sabbathy,
very
It's
much
like
so. Yeah,
but
could be the heaviest thing that he's ever written.
yeah, or Parasite,
Parasite. Yeah.
right? But speaking of the Parasite guitar solo,
Hmm.
after that little mid break,
Hmm.
man, I'm just hearing that in my mind right now,
Yeah.
and
And
it's
again, you
like,
can hear it like note for note in your head.
oh,
It's burned into your
it,
head after you've
yeah,
listened to it for 40 plus years.
yeah, it's just it's there in the brain matter for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So God, okay, so you got Parasite, Strange Ways, Charisma, Dark Light, Into the Night. um,
Rocket Ride.
the Rocket
Shot.
Ride solo. Well, the Rocket Ride solo is one of the few
Uses
times
it.
where he uses a wah pedal.
Yeah.
It's like just
Yeah.
it's loaded with that wah
Yeah.
pedal. It's like he's taking a page out of Mick Box's book, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, what a great solo that is.
Shock Me.
He-
Calling Dr. Love.
yeah,
Um, Making Love. That's a great
yeah,
solo on the studio album on Rock and Roll Over and on Alive 2.
mm-hmm,
Fantastic.
yep.
Um,
And it just makes you want to go, go get
the
some of the like the live videos from that era and just watch,
Oh
binge
yeah, yeah,
watch
yeah,
them,
yeah. The outro solo on Strutter, the last solo that he does on Strutter on Kiss
I
Alive
was gonna say the live version.
is
Yeah,
that actually made my top 10. I don't
yeah.
ask me why. It
And
just did.
it's one of those things where it's just
It's like he just tears into that thing and it just takes it to another level. His playing just elevated everything. When he was on his game,
hmm
he was hard to top for all the reasons
yeah.
we've articulated.
Yeah, not because he's the fastest or flashiest, but because everything fit. It just fit,
Yeah,
you
another great
know.
solo, Rip It Out. The
Oh
solo on
man.
Rip It
Oh
Out
yeah.
is he's ripping it on that song.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of great lead. And again, like to your point, he did a lot of great lead work and a lot of good work after Kiss. People don't give
hmm
him a lot of credit. He was very prolific as a solo artist, and the
It-
volume.
especially in the latter period.
Yeah, he was cranking. I think he was going to put out more material. He was working on, I think, another Origins
Yeah.
volume, and he said he was going to do another studio album. And sadly, we're not going to get to that. But I don't think he gets enough
I
credit for continuing to put out new albums
right.
and tour.
I'm hoping that enough work was done on the third Origins volume that it will eventually be able to be completed somehow. Um, you know, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't want any kind of AI nonsense
No, no,
to
no.
add into it, but whatever could be done, I have no idea. Obviously, to the extent that that was actually, recorded, but um, obviously, the powers that be will, think of those things in due time. But obviously, everybody within his orbit, no pun intended,
Right.
needs to grieve and go through you know, their processes for this. But at some point, I am hoping that we, the fans, can hear some of that and see what that. Because I actually like, I'm not a
Oh yeah,
huge person when it comes to covers necessarily, but I actually like hearing Ace cover things. So I like
yeah,
the Origins albums, to be honest with
yeah.
you.
I do too. I do too.
Um, so.
Well, the next I had on my list
Mhm.
was, we saw Ace with Kiss and as a solo artist. So
Oh, before you go into that,
yeah,
hold that thought. I did want to say, because you're talking about like has he like because his transition from Kiss into like the first Frehley's Comet album and stuff is an interesting story. I know people out there who know Eddie Trunk. Obviously, if you stumbled across this page, you probably know who Eddie Trunk is.
probably.
Um, Eddie Trunk just recently did a podcast that you can find. You listen to podcasts. It's like a 2.5 hour podcast
Yeah, it's
where he
pretty
just,
long.
did you listen to it?
Parts of it.
Okay. Well, it's just him. And he's just talking about his history with not only, Kiss, but obviously with Ace and how basically as like a, what, 20, 21-year-old, 22-year-old guy working, at Megaforce, which was out of Johnny Z's house, basically,
Hmm.
um, was able to sign Ace to his first post-Kiss deal, and just I think the stories behind that are really interesting, and they're really heartfelt from Eddie Trunk, because obviously he was not only a fan, but he became a friend
Hmm.
of Ace for a long time. And if you haven't listened to Eddie Trunk's podcast on that stuff, and you're a huge fan, listen to it. I think it's really interesting, and it's and Eddie's able to actually even recount some stories that I never heard before, that I don't think anybody ever heard before, that were you know just unique and in some cases amusing even, and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I just thought, man, Eddie Trunk should write a book.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm sure he could.
oh, I'm sure he could,
Yeah.
but so anyway, I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. I'm sure Eddie Trunk doesn't need me to funnel traffic to his stuff. But in case there's somebody out there that hadn't checked it out, check it out. So anyway, you were gonna say,
Well, seeing him with Kiss and also as a solo artist. So
yeah,
we saw Ace as a solo artist before we saw him with
no, you did,
I did, that's true.
you did, because I think I've seen Ace 3 times solo. I think you've seen him four
Okay.
because you were with me at every other time, and excuse me, I don't believe you saw him any other time except just once before I did. So,
That sounds right.
and the reason I remember that is because this goes back to I wasn't 21 yet.
Oh, okay.
So Ace came to Des Moines and played. I think it might have been called Harry Mary's at the time. It's now called Lefties, but um, gosh, I'm drawing a blank on what it was called before it was
Yeah, but it
Harry
was in
Mary's, but
95, I think. I think it was 1995.
and it would have been before I turned 21
Hmm.
that year,
Hmm.
and I couldn't. But somehow Jeff
Yeah.
got in.
Yeah.
Like I think he had some sort of fake ID or something, but in the two of you guys went.
Yeah.
And we're talking a small, I mean that
Yeah.
it's like the size of this room we're sitting
Yeah,
in.
and we were very close, like way up front. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wasn't there, but I kind of remember being like, dang,
Okay, so I stand corrected, but we did see him with Kiss, which that was July. The first time was July 3rd, 1996, which is our
mom's,
mom's
yeah.
birthday. And I don't know about you, but I remember literally like you're pinching yourself. When that show started, I mean, I had goosebumps. It
Yep.
was
Kemper Arena, Kansas City.
like watching like okay, I've been watching bootlegs of this like on my VHS all these years now. I'm actually here watching it and
Yeah,
it's
because
real.
even though well, you had seen Ace at a club, that's surreal in and of itself.
Right.
But and we'd seen Kiss, a number of
Yeah.
times prior to the reunion, of course.
Yes.
Um, every tour from Asylum up to the reunion.
Right.
And so for t 10 years
Yeah.
worth of seeing Kiss,
Yeah.
before the reunion. But like you said, we had all the bootleg videos and stuff of the classic era and seeing like the Love Gun tour and everything. And then to like be there
Yeah.
in the arena, which by the way, that was also uh, Alice in Chains opened that show. That was the last
That's the
show
last show they did with Lane Staley.
with Lane Staley. But um, I will never forget the curtain
Oh my
dropping
God.
on that and being like, I cannot believe I'm actually seeing Kiss in,
I know.
because at that time when we were that young still,
Yeah.
because 96, what would I have been?
You were 21.
Yeah, I was going on 22.
Hmm.
So, you're that young, you know, Kiss hadn't performed in those original four since
79, December
79.
of 79.
So 79 to 96 is
17 years.
17 years. When you're 22 or going on 22, 17 years is huge
Yeah.
because it's like the bulk of your life. And you're like, I never thought this would ever happen. Now we look back and go, oh, 17 years. I mean,
Yeah, it kind of just goes by like
like that.
that.
But at the time, it was like, I mean, I remember Jeff and me having conversations like, oh, they'll never reunite. I mean, the original band will never. I mean, can you imagine Pete and Ace actually being in Kiss after? How could that work? And da da da.
Yeah.
And then they did it.
Yeah.
And then we saw that tour
Seven
step.
times in 5 different states.
Yeah. And then, of course, again on the Psycho Circus tour a couple times,
And
on
then
the
the
Farewell
farewell
tour a
tour.
couple
Yeah.
times, and then back to Ace solo.
Yeah.
And like we said, we saw him last year in Des Moines, West Des Moines, the Valor Ballroom. But I think my favorite Ace
The surf
show,
ballroom.
Surf Ballroom, um,
Clear Lake.
Clear Lake, Iowa.
Yeah.
He had Richie Scarlett playing with him on that show.
Was that did we also see Whitesnake that same year
Yeah.
at the surf? So we saw like within a matter of a
Okay.
couple months we
Yeah.
saw Ace Frehley and Whitesnake
Yeah, Whitesnake was
at the
doing
surf
the purple
the
Yeah.
purple album. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. That was a
That
great
was my
probably my
favorite.
favorite Ace show.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's probably the one you can probably remember that more than the one
Yeah, I don't
from a
remember.
long,
Yeah, I
long
don't
time
remember
ago.
much.
It's oh, wait a minute. No, I misspoke. We also saw him in Council Bluffs
We did.
at a casino in Council Bluffs. So,
We did.
um, so yeah, I misspoke there. That was I think that show I could double check this, but I think in Council Bluffs he played like Torpedo Girl.
Either that or it was
And
part of a, it was either that or it was part of a medley.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, so that was cool. So but I think I still think the Surf Ballroom show was probably the best for my
yeah.
memory.
And obviously now we're both super glad that we got to catch him in West Des Moines last November.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
because literally it was the last tour. Nobody knew it was going to be the last tour. I think he played his last show, not obviously designed to be the last show, but just this past September. So he
Hmm.
was still moving forward, and like you said, maybe slow down a little bit, but hey, we take what we can get.
Yep.
I love it, and that he was still out there doing it. I don't think he needed to do all that stuff. I think
You
he just
know,
loved writing and recording music, and I think he loved playing.
it raises, a question. You see, a lot of folks will say stuff like, well, when artists are no longer in their prime, they should just go away and they should, leave us with the memory of their heyday and all that stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I just disagree. I'm like, you want to go out there and play, go out there and play. And if somebody doesn't want to listen to it, just don't listen to it. But
Right.
I love the fact that we have been fortunate enough to have grown up in an era. I mean, think of this. When Kiss came out, in 74,
Hmm.
right? Late 73 into 74, most bands weren't around for more than 5 years at a time.
Right.
So to have grown up and to have just, I mean, by chance, I think about like, Andy who does stuff in our creative stuff. His favorite bands were Queen, the
Hmm.
Beatles, you know, those are artists that, by the time he got into them,
They were gone. Yeah.
Zeppelin, Queen, the Beatles, they were done, long done.
Yeah.
And it's like and I like those bands too, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but the bands, yes, Deep Purple, Kiss,
Maiden,
Maiden, on and
Sabbath.
on and on and on and on. It's like these are all bands that kept putting stuff out. And I, for one, am really glad that
Yeah.
I latched on to bands that kept putting stuff out because it was, I mean, to this very day, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I mean, there's,
Well, and again, and Ace put out 10,000 Volts. Is it our favorite Ace Frehley album? No,
but
but
I'm glad he
I'm
did
glad
it.
he did it.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was looking forward to more. And maybe at some point we'll hear what he was working on
right.
when he had his unfortunate accident. But
Yeah,
yeah, the reunion show in Kemper was just like a game changer. Moment in your, like when we saw
yeah,
Kiss for the first time on the Asylum tour, that was a game changer.
yep,
Fast forward 10 years to see this,
yeah.
it was, it
And the
was,
Asylum show was a game changer just because that was our first concert.
right.
In retrospect, look back on it, it's like, well, objectively, is it that great of a show? Probably not,
At the time,
but at the
yes,
time, at
but
the time, it was just, I mean, I was so excited about that show, I went home and threw up. It's great.
yeah, you
So
probably did.
my nerves were just like,
Yeah, but no,
it's like
it
Beavis from Beavis and Butthead.
yeah, it was fantastic to see the original band together and to see Ace play all the leads and the licks that we've been
Well,
listening to for all those
and
years.
part of that also with the reunion in '96 with Ace and Peter is because Ace and Peter's careers were like, I don't think we understood or had their perspective. I know I didn't, to really understand that in the early to mid '90s, Kiss was actually struggling
Oh,
comparatively,
sure, sure.
comparatively compared to a lot of other acts.
Yeah.
They really weren't pulling, like they would want to. And but compared to Ace and Peter,
Oh yeah.
especially Peter, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, and the thinking is like, why would they reunite with Ace and Peter? Of course, didn't have the understanding to kind of really to really grasp that again, the four of them together
Mhm.
at that time. And it's also like in the '90s, I mean, the kind of music Kiss was doing in the '90s, kind of a foot still in the '80s. It's like they just didn't fit.
No.
And they just didn't fit. And the only way to not fit is to just not fit.
Yeah, and they did that really well.
So they were like, okay, if we're gonna not fit into the '90s, let's just kind of bring this '70s kind of thing back and be completely counter to what the '90s all seem to be. I mean, the '90s really seem to be like kind of like setting aside a lot of like the big spectacle of
Hmm.
rock, and they were
Yeah.
like, you know what, let's bring the big spectacle back, and it was
Yeah.
like, bam. I
Yeah.
mean, oh my God. To this day, I say that '96 show at Kemper was one of the most, like handful of best shows I've ever been
Oh
to.
yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. I
Awesome.
would agree with that.
So, what else you got?
Well, let's talk about we talk about some solos, favorite solos.
Yeah.
What are some favorite songs of his that he wrote?
That he wrote.
Not that he sings
Okay.
but some of the favorite songs that Ace wrote.
Strange Ways.
Okay,
Yeah, for sure. Strange
I
Ways.
agree.
Uh, Torpedo Girl.
Yes. Oh yeah,
I love that song.
I do too.
And frankly, Unmasked is one of my favorite Kiss albums of all time. I
Yes.
don't care what anybody says.
We agree on that. We
Um,
agree on that.
which is weird that,
Yeah,
that because a lot of people don't agree with that, but
we
we
do.
both do, and it's kind of weird that you and I actually agree on that, but we do. Um, so yeah, Torpedo. Let's see what else. Rip It Out.
Hmm.
I mean, take your pick, right?
Almost the
I'm
whole
in need of
album.
love. I love I'm in need of
Fractured
love.
Hair. I'm in Need of Love. Yeah.
Um,
Snowblind. Yeah.
so let's see what else. Hard Times, the
Or-
solo on Hard Times, that you want to throw another solo on
Yeah.
there. Oh man, the way the solo comes, well, he comes out of the solo back into the chorus on Hard
Hmm.
Times. Again, that's like a goosebump
Goosebump moment.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that
Um,
one of your high points on Dynasty
yeah.
for the
Yeah.
hard times?
In his latter period,
Hmm.
I think the song Space
Space
Invader,
Invader is
that's
fantastic.
awesome. That song is
Fantastic.
so cool. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah. What other?
Oh, I'd throw Rocket Ride in there.
Oh yeah. I
I'd
mean,
throw
geez, how do
Shock
you?
Me in there.
Okay, Shock Me versus Rocket Ride. If you had to
Rocket
rank,
Ride.
same here.
Rocket
I
Ride.
actually agree. I
That
actually think it's a shame that Kiss never actually performed
oh,
Rocket
that would have
Ride.
been great because it was a single. I don't know why
Yeah,
but they never did do that.
right.
I think it's not one of my favorite songs on Anomaly, but Genghis Khan has a fantastic. You didn't used to talk
Mm,
about his use of the wah pedal and
hmm
rock. He uses the wah pedal on the solo for that song, which is a fantastic
hmm
solo. I love that solo on that song.
Yeah,
Sister's a good song that he did.
yeah.
I like that song quite a bit. You mentioned Strange Ways, Cold Gin. Hard to go wrong with with that. Is the first song that he first wrote for Kiss. Um,
Is my dog trying to? Oh, there
she's
she
trying to jump
goes. If he
down. Yeah,
trips over,
yeah,
oh, let's
yeah.
not.
Let's not trip over that.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, and then of course Dark Light. That's got another great solo. We're
Yeah.
talking about solos and songs, but um, I think off the first Frehley's Comet album, I think Love Me Right is a really cool song. Great
hmm
riff. Um, let's kind of transition from that into we are talking about the favorite
Yeah.
solos. What about some of your favorite vocal performances that he's had? Like,
I think Ace is.
is there a song which you think features his best vocal performance? Because his vocals were very unorthodox.
Yeah.
We would agree, I'm sure, that he wasn't the best singer, but he had a very unique voice and how he projected
Yeah.
his
I
voice.
would say, it's funny talking about 10,000 volts. I think one of the things I didn't like about that album as much is I think the vocals sounded a little, I don't want to use the word lazy, but because he has this kind of weird kind of talking, singing kind of thing
Yeah,
where he doesn't hold a note, he lets the note dip at the end.
kind of lilts a little bit.
Yeah, and there's too much of that, I think, on 10,000 volts. I think honestly, where he hit a real high mark vocally is honestly on Unmasked.
Okay, because I think his best all-time vocal performance is on that album.
Um, would it be Torpedo Girl or
No,
Two Sides of the Coin?
nope.
Well, that leaves,
Talk to Me.
which is what we're doing, folks. We're having a conversation.
I think Talk to Me is his best vocal performance.
Talk to me, he. Talk to me, he.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I can see
I
that.
think I think he hit his vocal stride really with Dynasty and Unmasked. I think he was comfortable doing vocals. I think he liked doing the vocals then.
Yeah,
I think his voice is produced really well on Unmasked. And I just think really he hit the sweet spot
I
with
agree.
I think Talk to Me. If somebody said, "Hey, pick your favorite Ace vocal," it's probably Talk to Me.
Yeah, and I think his vocals,
Mu-
after that are still really good too. I think, I mentioned Into the Night, for example. I
It's a
think
good vocal.
it's a yeah, but I agree. I think that he actually he really had that boost of confidence. I mean, look at it this way: he does more vocals on Dynasty than
And Gene,
Gene.
yeah, yeah,
Gene has two songs
yeah,
on Dynasty. Ace has three if you
yeah,
count,
yeah,
2000 Man,
yeah,
which is of course
yeah.
um, a
But his
Rolling
voice,
Stones cover, but
but his voice on Unmasked was smooth and melodic. And again, Ace didn't have the best. Ace's voice is kind of an acquired taste.
hmm
Like you said, he kind of has this talking, singing style, which is there's kind of a little bit of a naivete or a little bit of a charm to it.
hmm
His voice could be a little bit nasally at times, especially as he got older.
yeah.
Um,
But
but
it was still Ace.
but it was
Ace is
Ace. And
great.
it was always like, okay, when he would do a song, it was like, oh, Ace is gonna sing a song for you now, because Paul and Gene are gonna do a lot of the heavy lifting. We're gonna have Ace sing this song for you. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. I,
Or even like Into the Void. We haven't talked about Into the Void.
that's
That's a song
right.
that's a song that we both like quite a
Well,
bit.
I think Into the Void is like if you had to pick one song that sounds quintessentially like classic Kiss from Psycho
That's
Circus,
it.
it's Into the Void. And
And is
it's
it
like,
because that's all got the guys like Pete's on
yeah,
it
it's like,
and Ace is
well,
on it?
I think that's part of it. I also think it's like that's a classic Kiss riff.
Yeah.
Whereas, a song like Raise Your Glasses or something that, it's nothing against the song, but it's like, okay, but stuff sounded like classic Kiss.
Yes.
Um,
So do you
and
have a favorite, or would you say that there was a vocal performance that you could pick out and
no,
say
I would just agree with that
that
assessment
era?
of the era
The era.
there. Yeah, yeah.
Here's another topic that I
hmm
have down here. The last topic I have.
hmm
Ace has made it very clear that he's said, look, I don't dislike The Elder. I think The Elder is a good album. It just wasn't the right Kiss album at the time, because
hmm
we know that Kiss's initial plan was to record a heavier album after Unmasked, and that was kind of the direction they were going to go in before Gene and Bill Aucoin or what had the idea, the concept of doing The
hmm
Elder.
hmm
And Ace has said, if we had done Creatures of the Night after Unmasked, I probably wouldn't have left the group, or I might not have left the group, because he was really, really dissatisfied with The Elder as a Kiss album. What if Ace had not left Kiss?
Um,
Now, obviously, we wouldn't have Creatures of the Night as we know it. We wouldn't have Lick It Up as we know it. Things would be a lot
they would
different.
be they would be different. Yeah.
Ace wasn't they brought in Vinny and they brought in Mark and who were shredders, and they brought in Bruce, and Ace wasn't that type of player. But what if there had been, you know, some
It-
work with Ace after Creatures?
well,
What would that have been
I
like?
think there's
And
a.
and how long would it have lasted?
It's hard to know. Of course, his substance abuse problems were obviously a factor as well, and it's not just the elder. But
Right.
um,
Yeah, he said that he had to leave Kiss basically to save himself. That
yeah.
he would not have survived if he'd stayed in the band.
So I just recently listened to the Kiss Alive Millennium show,
Hmm.
and Ace pulls out a solo on "Lick It Up,"
Hmm.
which is pretty darn good, and it's like, hmm, hmm, it's like it. And I just full disclosure, I'm not a huge fan of the song "Lick It Up." I know you're a big fan of the
Yeah,
song.
I am.
I'm not, but when I was listening to that, I thought to myself, I think this might be my favorite version of "Lick It Up"
Because Ace is on it.
because of Ace's guitar solo on, it. And it's
Yeah.
like so. And I think when we're done viewing this, I think I'll go pull that up again and listen to it because I hadn't listened to it for a long time, and it's like, you know, to your point, I think they might have retained a little bit of that original Kiss swagger, even though they would have gone into the. But it's really hard to imagine songs like "Exciter" or
Right.
on Animalize, things like I've Had Enough, with
Yeah.
Ace. Um, but
And of course, Vinny wrote so many of the songs on Lick It Up, or had a hand in those, that you could argue those songs wouldn't
oh,
even
they
exist.
wouldn't
They
exist.
wouldn't exist if Ace had been in the band. So Lick It
Right.
Up, as we know it, wouldn't even exist most likely.
No, no.
But what would they have done if it had
Yeah,
been
right.
Ace, Eric, Gene, and Paul for another album?
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Or if if Ace had actually played or participated in Creatures, what would Creatures have been like? I
Yeah,
mean, he did do Rock and Roll Hell on one of his Origins albums, which was an
right.
interesting choice.
Yeah.
So it gets the wheels in my head just kind of spin a little bit. It's like what? Because I think I told you I had a dream one time that the lineup that did Lick It Up was Peter, Vinny, Gene, and Paul, and that on the cover, Pete was on the cover wearing like a denim, like a jean jacket vest with the sleeves cut off,
Man,
without the makeup, and having, it's like this is where my mind
how come
goes.
I can't have dreams like
I,
that?
I wish you could. It was very enjoyable, but it's like,
If my dog, this is just a non sequitur and a digression, but
is
if
she?
my dog is snooping around where she normally doesn't snoop, hey,
Um,
Louise, get out of there. We're
yeah,
we're having an Ace Frehley conversation
yeah, yeah,
here.
yeah.
Just I think she wants me to take her outside, but
Well, but I'm like, okay,
she can wait.
yeah. What if that was the lineup that did? What if it was Gene, Pete, Vinny, and Paul? It's
Yeah,
like,
you have weird dreams, man.
but so it's like I think, what if, what
Yeah,
if? But like we said, Lick It Up wouldn't be as we know
no,
it today.
no.
So
But that's of course as a historian, it's like, well, that's a counterfactual because it's like there's it didn't happen, so there's
right,
no
right.
it's all conjecture. But um, so yeah, it's an interesting what if to think about, and the closest we can get is the those shows from the farewell tour where they played I Love It Loud and
Heaven's on
Heaven's on
Fire.
Fire and Lick It Up. I think Lick It Up's the one that has I mean, it's of those three, it's the only one that actually has like a real room for him to solo
Yeah,
in.
correct.
So,
Yeah.
uh,
I think he did the 7 note solo in I Love It Loud, but
yeah,
that's just he just did the solo that's on the album,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
where he's
So,
actually doing a solo on Lick It Up. It's like
hmm
he's doing a solo, like Bruce did.
yeah, yeah.
But that's
So,
interesting to think about those
yeah,
things. But obviously, Ace had a very prolific solo career,
yeah,
that I think we need to be mindful of.
yeah. And we were followers of that
Yes,
of that.
we were rock soldiers.
We were rock soldiers, folks. I still have
I have,
there's an
yeah.
issue of rock soldiers
I'll have to try to.
fan club newsletters, oh yeah, look at that.
I'll have to go find mine. I know I have those. I
Um,
have one autographed somewhere.
you do. I thought I was thinking I had one that was autographed. I love that one because it's so low budget, like his face blurred out on the,
Let's see that one. Yeah, that's low budget.
but the thing is we were, following, even in the era where, he was on his own before the
Hmm.
before the whole reunion thing, and he was, this is back when Eddie Trunk was reviving his career, basically. I mean, if it wasn't for Eddie Trunk, we wouldn't have Fraley's Comet and stuff. And then here he rejoins and the Kiss.
Yeah,
And I think this issue 9, I think that might have been the last one. I think it was like, okay, he's back with Kiss now, and it's like this kind of more low budget operation just kind of went by the wayside, I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
So, but yeah, yeah, I don't know what else you got.
Well, final thoughts. Where would you kind of rank Ace? Not rank, but
Rating.
where would you place him, amongst your favorite guitar players, and what type of legacy do you think he leaves with respect to his music and his playing and his personality? You
Yeah.
mentioned earlier his character, like the Tom Snyder
Oh
interview. The
God,
greatest interview in rock music history is that
that
Halloween interview
is
from '79.
that is one of the funniest things. And if Gene and Paul could have just relaxed a little bit, especially Gene,
Yeah, a little
it's
bit.
like, just dude, just chill out.
Just understand the greatness that's happening
Well,
right now.
it's like it was funny.
It was,
It was entertaining. It was funny. It's like your whole point is to be entertainers.
yeah,
And it's like Ace stole the show.
yeah,
And it's like, Gene, I know and it's nothing against Gene. But it's like, put your ego aside here a little bit and roll with it.
yeah, yeah.
Because Gene can be funny.
He can.
And it's like, imagine if Gene had just relaxed a
Play
little
up,
bit,
follow my lead.
follow his lead, play off that a little bit. It's like instead of having like half the guys in that band be really, because Peter was pretty funny in that
He
interview
was.
too. It's like, imagine if the whole band had really gotten in on that
Yeah,
humor, and it's like that would have been great, and it is great
it
for
is
what it is.
great.
But I mean, it's like, and Kiss Meets the Phantom gets slagged because it's a cheesy movie, but it's like,
Oh,
you
there's
know,
some gold in that movie.
oh man,
There are
there
moments
there are
that
moments in that, and you know, well, why didn't you say so?
yeah. And then she starts
You
singing
start
Rocket
singing
Ride.
Rocket Ride,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like it's
Beethoven's Fifth.
right, and it's like that's the thing that those things made Kiss larger than life. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, they made up for a lack of musicality and a lack of musical talent and a lack of songs with all of the flash. And there's no doubt that the songs are simpler than like, okay, Yes or Genesis or whatever. It's like, when I want to listen to Yes, and I love Yes, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. I mean,
yeah,
Going for the One,
yeah,
Close to the Edge,
yeah.
some of my favorite albums of all time. If I want to listen to Yes, I listen to Yes.
Right.
But the thing is, when I listen to Kiss, I'm still listening to Kiss. If I throw Kiss on in the car, whether I was, 18 years old or 48 years old or whatever, I'm listening to it. I'm not,
Yeah,
it's not, it's a, yeah, the shows are fantastic.
yeah,
But I actually really like the music too. I think it stands up. So
yeah. And we
I
still.
think so Ace to me, as a player,
Mhm.
that doesn't just mean as a technician or as a technical player. It just means, just do I like listening to his style? Do I like listening to his playing? And he's definitely near the top.
Oh yeah,
He's near the top. It
yeah.
just, and there never will be another Ace Frehley.
No, no. I agree.
So
One of the first guitarists that I ever listened to that I really liked. Um,
when I was a little kid, I thought, is he really from planet Earth or is he from Jandel?
you know,
It's like, because when you're really little and you still believe in Santa Claus, it's like, could it's kind of like when Jack Black was describing Neil Peart's playing, it's like, oh, he's not even human, and it's like, not now Jack Black was talking about Neil's technical
yeah,
proficiency,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm talking about Ace more of like
Being an alien.
being the kind of the character of his playing, not so much the technicality of it. So I think he's near the top. He's one of my favorites of all time.
I would agree, and for the same reasons. Just when you hear him, you know it's him, genuine, authentic, and he just did his thing, and he did it really well.
Yeah,
And he's probably one of the reasons why we both wanted to play a guitar, that we wanted to write songs, and that we've all these years later that we still do a lot of what we
yeah.
do. It all goes back to listening to those
Which
Kiss albums
is
back when we were
it's a
kids.
good segue to end this, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Normally I kind of plug, I put up props and say, hey, by the way, here's the stuff that we do, and please check it out. And it just seems a little, I
yeah.
don't know, on a, kind of
Yeah.
tribute type of show to a fallen guitar hero here. But if you're interested in checking out the Underlords universe, there's links below. Otherwise, like and subscribe to the channel. But more importantly, if you're an Ace fan, a Kiss fan, and you have thoughts, comments, reactions, feel free to put them in the comment section below. And grab an Ace Frehley album, whether it's his first solo album,
Or
whether
his
it's
most recent, his
or
last
or,
one.
or 10,000 volts or
Yeah.
anything in
Anything in
between, second
between.
sighting,
Yeah.
anomaly, whatever, Space Invader, the old Kiss stuff, if you want to spin the new Kiss Dress to Kill 50th anniversary box set,
Yeah.
play it, because unless they're unearthing stuff that hasn't been released yet, nothing else is coming, and that's sad.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, at any rate, any last thoughts?
No, I think that sums it up really well. We'll
All
we'll
right.
we'll miss Ace. We're better off for having seen him play as a
Hmm.
solo artist and with his band, and he'll be missed.
Yeah. So, everybody leaves a mark. Make sure it's a positive one.
And he did. He
I
did.
would like to think
I
so.
think he influenced a lot of players, and a lot of people got into music because of people like
Yeah.
Ace, and we're two examples of that too.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, like we said, like, subscribe, but more importantly, comment if you're an Ace fan. So thanks for checking us out. I'm going to reach over here and hit that little button that turns all
Okay,
this
see
off.
ya.
So ciao.